lead developer at GG Circuit. I have experience leading front-end teams up to 11 people during the last 4 years. I also have some full-stack background, and I'm an Angular guy, so all examples in this presentation are related to Angular framework. But it's not Angular exclusive, you can really use it for any technology. The problem I want to talk about, we developers meet with the bad code quite often. I've been in this situation several times, joining legacy projects as a freelancer and working for outsourced teams. Also hearing my colleagues complain about it, so it's a huge problem, and I collected some tips and tricks, gathered some experience that I want to share with you today. The first question we ask ourselves, should we rewrite the project or maintain it and support and refactor? And rewriting is usually not the best idea, because we do not have enough information when we join legacy projects. They usually have no little documentation. If you have production, you have to support both versions during migration period, so this is also another complication, and it's a difficult business decision, so not every business owner or manager can agree to do this step, but sometimes you have no other choice. And let me show you the first real-life example. I joined a small startup with AngularJS frontend, and the first day I was completely terrified. All JavaScript was in one file. It has very big functions, sometimes taking up to 2 pages, huge controllers, no services, no directives, and this code caused terrible change detection bugs, and those hard to reproduce and hard to fix bugs. Features worked on and off. By the way, every row in this project was commented by previous developers for some reason. I don't know why, it didn't help me at all. So I was thinking how to approach rewrite, how can I even suggest that? And the easiest way, in my opinion, to make an estimate, which I did for both rewrite and refactor, and then present it to business and ask them to choose. And when it's cheaper to rewrite your project, why not to do that? Then this decision is getting easier. You can also seek for additional benefits like changing UX, updating theme, some restructure. If you are making project from scratch, you can do it for no additional cost. And another important thing, if you are joining project with no backend developer you can trust, it's worth to check backend too, because probably if frontend is a mess, backend code also is not in a good shape. And even if you only know JavaScript and only work with frontend, you can still use your general knowledge and ask for access for backend code. And if it's a mess, you will understand it and have the whole picture about the project and can make decisions with your client. I didn't do that, so I had to we still had to rewrite backend, but did it much later. The next thing, first day improvement. Forgive me this clickbait. Of course, if you are like me, at the first day you'll be probably just looking at your project and asking yourself, why me? Why I have to support this mess? You won't be making any real improvements. My point is, at the first days, maybe first weeks, some changes can be done to the project pretty quickly, to any legacy project, and you can already start taking control and making it for the better. Let's see. The first change is formatting. You can, of course, use any formatting tool. I suggest Prettier. It's well tested, it's popular. It doesn't have many settings, so you won't need to spend time and have debates with your front-end team about setup. It probably has all of the integration with your local environment, with your remote environment. No problem here. Formatting, of course, reduces merge conflicts. That's why one of the reasons we do that. And Prettier works for all type of files. So we use it for HTML, GG circuit, we use it even for JSON configs, no problem. Next thing is auto test. Of course, auto tests helps you while you're refactoring. You're not afraid to break anything, and it works to start writing them or have separated people who do that. I want to focus here on adding data QA ID attributes to your code. You can add them to your buttons, controls, everything your user interact with, and you can do it pretty quickly. And then, while writing end-to-end tests, you'll have your code separated, and your tests could be based on those IDs. And then, when you refactor, you won't be breaking your auto tests too often. Another idea is to agree on a styling guide from the beginning with your front-end team. And of course, you don't want for your code to become legacy right after you started writing it. That's why it's important, and you can use something pre-made, like in Angular we are lucky we have this official style guide that we use almost out of the box. We just added some rules on top of it, modified it a little bit for our team, and it works perfect. Next thing is lint. Linting is also important improvement, and here you can integrate it with your style guide. If you go and try to find linting rules that cover your style guide, and then you can automate your style guide by linting. And also you can use framework-specific rules and plugins, such as ESLint plugin for Angular. And the last thing, ESLint fix. This command is gonna try to fix your project automatically. It won't fix everything, but I think it's still cool. So get something from the beginning automatically. Next is obvious advice: continuous integration, continuous delivery. I decided to include it because I saw many times it's not getting prioritized. I think we should prioritize it, even if manual deploy takes 20 seconds. It still distracts developers and just reduces our time that we could use in a better way. Then, technical debt roadmap, something we come up with. It's basically a list of tasks prioritized and also estimated. It can be a spreadsheet, it can be like separated Jira project. The point is that all those tasks, as you see on your screen, have this value for business column. And this is important because we explain for each refactoring, for each technical debt task, what is the value for business. And then we approve those tasks and include them in our workflow. I think it's really important for developers to be transparent, and sometimes we make this mistake and start refactoring something without telling anybody or a part of some task. I prefer to be transparent and plan it properly. Next thing, classification of changes. Also our interesting idea I want to share with you. Instant changes are pretty much that we already discussed. It's all kind of auto fixes, formatting, all kind of integrations, changes that you can do fast and just set up and they work. Not dangerous. Next thing is iterational changes. It's, for example, adding TypeScript types over time, applying ESLint rules manually, adding unit tests, and so on. Something that you can start and do over time, and it's not dangerous because what happens if you stop doing that and come back to it much later? Nothing, right? Your project is not gonna be worse because of it. And next category is dangerous migrations. It's time-consuming breaking changes that put your project into a transitional state and may become a huge problem if you don't finish it. Let me show you what I mean on examples. The first example, migration from AngularJS to Angular framework. Angular team did amazing job, allowed us to have both frameworks at some time in same project. It can be only on production for some time. So you migrate component by component, page by page, pretty useful. But what if you start doing that and don't finish? If then COVID happens or some urgent business requirement happens, then you may find yourself in this not comfortable situation where you have to support both frameworks, and number of bugs probably increases, and browser performance suffers because of it. And same reasons about, for example, updating from one UI framework to another, like from Material to Kenda UI. Same issues, you don't wanna both frameworks to have at the same time on a project. So my point is, for such changes, it's important to plan them in advance properly and try to finish as soon as possible. And last example is about a mistake I've made. We had a Moment.js library for date and time, and as you may know, a few years ago it got deprecated, and we decided, well, we should start, we started a new feature back then, and we decided to use another library for it, Data FNS, because it's better, right? And guess what? After that, we had for a long time both libraries on several projects, and we had so-called zoo, two libraries for doing one thing, and developers supported them with no proper planning to complete migration, because Moment.js code was had a huge, our code base used it in a lot of places. So we started migration with no plan, and it's not a big deal in this case, but I would do it in other way if I could start again. Next section, improving gradually. It's just some tips that I collected and want to share with you. First one is formalizing API. Also quite obvious advice. Maybe you can ask your backend developers. They can probably generate Swagger for you, or any other automatic API signatures documentation. It will simply make your life easier. Or also we used Slide, but it's not, of course it's better to have something automatic, so then you switch to Swagger, or you can use some other platforms. And another idea, you may not agree with me, but in my experience, life expectancy for startup UI is small. So pages or even projects, big modules could be deleted. And if they are not used by users often, you can just wait for them to die in peace instead of refactoring them. If you can remove your code, maybe you can move it. And another idea is to move your code, legacy code, to another project, and by doing that, encapsulate it, and then make deprecate it and just not worry about it too much. Real life example, when I worked for one of my clients, we had those B2B admins and B2C applications. Admins managed applications, and also you see global admin is a part of B2B admin app. Global admin managed the whole thing, B2B admins and client applications. And this global admin had the most legacy part, so to say, most legacy code. And obvious solution that we did, we separated global admin from B2B admin. By doing that, improved security, but also global admin only it was only for internal use, only several people were using it, and it has no requirements for UX update, for themes, colors. We just needed to keep libraries up to date, keep it secure, and that's it. And we could focus on what is really matter, on code that we present to our clients. And then code in B2B admin got also deprecated, some of the code, and we could safely remove it. Next thing is saving time for refactoring. In my experience, iteration works in the best way. So if you have Scrum, you can allocate some time at the end of each sprint and work on technical dev tasks. When your project is good enough, it's a philosophical question, of course. In my opinion, business needs must go first, and every change should be justified by some benefit to a business. So when we plan our technical debt, we consider it and ask ourselves if we want to change this library just because we want it, or if it's important, actually we need it for something, if it's justifiable. But how to understand what your business needs, what developers need? We use retrospectives at Regisseur for that. And we tried a couple of tools. First one is Team Playbook by Atlassian, and second one is Ecometer that we use now. Those tools allow you not just have general discussion about retrospective, but write down your notes, create cards, and then the whole team votes for it, for them, and you can see priorities. You can see what is important for everyone, and what things are more important, and it may surprise you. And the next thing, last one, maintaining quality. So we have front-end docs. Basically everything we agreed on is written down in documents. Could be Google Docs, could be Confluence. The point is you can simply point developers to some document. It's important, especially when you hire new developers, especially several people, and then they can quickly catch up and understand your quality, code quality, standards, and so on. And looking for code smells, it's important to just look at the code sometimes and see if it's going better or worse. If you see some issues, investigate it and discuss with front-end team, and again using retrospective to get feedback from the team. That's all from me. My contacts are on your screen if you want to get in touch. Thank you for your attention.